Today, for you people, I have another learning video that is related to language learning and teaching process. It's equally beneficial for teachers and students at the same time. It's very much, you may say, indispensable to know actually the process for understanding, teaching, and learning English language or any language from the whole world. First of all, the set pattern that we should know actually is every language is learned through ear. It means, first of all, we just listen a language, and after listening, the process of learning actually starts. First of all, I would like to write actually the process that actually is adopted, natural process I would say, for learning a language. First of all, every individual actually listens, and it means first comes listening. And after listening, there comes speaking. And after speaking, there comes the process of reading. And from reading, there comes writing. And so the language learning cycle is completed. But in this process, actually in listening and after that speaking and reading and writing, this is the process. In Pakistan or in non-native context, the problem actually what is that the students belonging to the second language learning context and the teacher belonging to second language learning context. Actually, while teachers teaching and students while learning, they all both face at the same time problems while learning and teaching. What actually the problem is? We have today to identify that problem. Actually, we adopt an unnatural way. And what is that unnatural way? We start from writing. Anyone can see his or her context of learning. Learning starts from writing in our context. This is the problem when a learner goes to the school. In very first day, in very first class, a student is actually forced to write something, A or a 1 or something like that, alphabets of the language. Writing, and after writing, we actually reach to the reading, and then we read to the speaking. We force the students to speak, and then less emphasis is on listening. It's actually we let this part on the learner, that the learner should actually him or herself adopt the idea of listening, but rest of the three things they are focused. But how can it be possible that the process is unnatural and the outcome may be a natural one? It's not possible. So this is the problem. First of all, we should adopt a natural process of learning. And what is that? First, there should be listening. As in any first language, when there is no consciousness, actually, a learner is not actually intended to learn language. Even then, he or she learns the language. What is actually there? There is not intentionality, but there is naturality. The process of naturality is there. First, a learner listens and then speaks, and after that, the process comes of reading, and after that, writing. It's the later and the final stage of learning a language. So we have to first change this process. And in this process, there is also a lack. We just not only listen, we comprehend. So there should be the addition of comprehension. Listening comprehension, then speaking comprehension. With every stage, there should be the addition of comprehension, reading comprehension. I tell you people what actually it is, and with writing there should be comprehension. Why comprehension is actually necessary? While listening, if you just listen and don't understand what actually you are listening to, Is it beneficial? Is it productive one? No, it is not productive, because if we just listen and don't understand what actually we listen to, it's not productive and beneficial for us, for language learner. While speaking, if one is unable to understand what he or she is actually going to speak or speaking to, how is it possible he or she can make rational or sensible constructions while speaking? So it's very much important, very much necessary to understand and comprehend while speaking what one is speaking to. Well, when the stage comes of reading, when someone is reading, there is actually the major problem, what actually the learners feel or face. While reading, they read a lot, but some part of that reading is retained. It is so because we don't understand while reading. First of all, while reading, there should be the level of comprehension. As the level of comprehension increases, the result is writing. So, writing level is increased. As for writing comprehension, while writing, one should actually comprehend what he or she is writing to. If it is not so, then there are a lot of problems for writers. There are two maxims that actually are prevailing nowadays. First one, a good listener is a good speaker, and to a larger extent it is right as well, because when you listen carefully, when some listen carefully, he can speak in a good way. So is the case, a good reader is a good writer. While reading and comprehending at the same time, a reader actually gets some sort of structures of that language, and after actually comprehending those structures along with the meanings, he or she can apply those structures or constructions in his or her writing as well. In this way, good listening actually affects good speaking, and good writing actually is affected by good reading. Now, when we talk about language learning, there are two actually processes. Reception. First of all, in language learning process, language teaching process, what should be taught, that there should be the reception. And this reception actually involves two phases. First one, listening. While listening, actually we receive something, and reading. These both actually are related to reception process or phase. While listening, we receive, and while reading, we receive. And after that, there is expressive or expression. If, as far as expression is concerned, there is speaking, the outcome of listening, and the writing outcome of reading. This is my question for you people. Is it possible there is a poor input and we can expect actually rich or good output? Is it possible? No, it is not possible. So if the listening is poor, then speaking is poor. As if the reading is poor, writing is as well poor. So we have to focus on the idea. First, we should be a good listener so that we can actually produce good structures while speaking. And same is the case with reading. While reading, we should comprehend along with actually constructing the meanings, and we should actually focus on the structures as well, so that while writing we may be able to write in a good way. This lecture is actually focusing on the skills for language learning abilities. It can actually help the students belonging to IELTS, spoken English, creative writing, and students from English linguistics and English literature, because everybody and everyone needs to write and to speak. So this is for all about. for today's lecture. Just focus actually the problems that I have mentioned, and analyze your problems and weaknesses and eliminate them, and focus the weak areas what you have actually in your learning. So thank you for your precious time. Thank you for watching this video as well.